Hello everyone, good morning. For Telesur, I'm Cody Weddle in Caracas, Venezuela. The Belgian government continues to search for one of the authors of the deadly attacks in Paris from last week. Now, after the city remained on lockdown most of the weekend, the police and the army raided several areas in Brussels Sunday night. French and Belgian authorities said they had credible evidence that another attack was set to be carried out on Sunday. Meanwhile, hacktivist group Anonymous also warned that after hacking dozens of social media accounts belonging to ISIS, they had found evidence of plans to carry out attacks in different cities worldwide, including Paris. And during the raids, Belgian authorities announced they had arrested 16 people suspected to have ties and links to the Islamic State group. The people detained will appear before a judge later today. The raids targeted the neighborhoods in which the Paris attackers had been living. Authorities clarified that no firearms or explosives were found. However, during the raids, police opened fire at a vehicle. Now, during the press conference, officials referred to the incident but did not reveal whether it was tied to the suspects.
During a raid in a snack bar in Molenbeek, a car drove in the direction of the police. The police then fired twice.
And the world's most wanted man was not captured. It was not captured during that raid. Abdesalam Salah, one of the authors of the attacks in Paris, he's still on the run. The French tabloid Le Soir reports that the man was possibly seen escaping in a BMW car heading for Germany. From Latin America, Argentinians have elected right-wing candidate Mauricio Macri as their next president. With a pro-market and neoliberal rhetoric, Macri won by a tight 3% there against Daniel Scioli, the candidate of the ruling Front for Victory. The vote revealed a deeply divided Argentina. Now, many worry that Macri will embark on a campaign of privatization of state industries.
I hope that all the bad things we think will happen don't happen. We are going to resist, and we are going to work to get back to the way we have been living all of these years, and to make sure we don't lose the rights we have conquered.
The Colombian government has announced that it will pardon 30 members of the FARC guerrillas. The decision comes as a token of goodwill on behalf of the government delegation. Now, the pardoned men were jailed for the crime of rebellion and had not committed any violent action. The FARC guerrillas had issued a statement last week warning the government that many FARC prisoners were facing deteriorating health due to poor conditions in prison. Meanwhile, a health story now. According to health officials in Mexico, there are over 122,000 cases of HIV-positive individuals who know their status, with another estimated 24,000 that are simply unaware they are infected with that virus. Now, while authorities maintain public awareness campaigns, high stigmas and stereotypes continue to negatively impact those who live with the virus. Our correspondent Clayton Kahn now reports from Mexico.
Clemente Moreno, active student council member in his university, director of the civil organization LGBT Agenda, and open about being HIV positive, says that every day he confronts stigmas and discrimination propagated by a misguided vision in the media.
They have always sought to categorize us with the worst stereotypes in the city. Those who take drugs, who don't take care of themselves, who are rebellious persons, and they do not humanize us. In fact, all of that is not true. It's not about that. It's not that there are not people with HIV.
While the young activist does applaud the intent by the authorities to implement policies that provide free medical care for HIV-positive individuals and anti-discrimination laws, he says in the end, comprehensive measures in public education need to be carried out.
People should learn about their bodies and then can respect others. And that's how it can grow according to age, from knowing your body to pleasure and eroticism. This is why it must be taught in schools, because that is the only way to truly provoke a greater consciousness about sexuality.
Meanwhile, medical experts in state-funded HIV clinics argue that beyond fighting stigmas, there are other major challenges in fighting the disease and its impacts medically.
And so part of the challenge is to diagnose those who have not been diagnosed, because we have an estimated large population that live with the infection but do not know that they are infected. And also, the other side is to connect these people with HIV to the appropriate medical attention and maintain them with the antiretroviral treatment.
In the end, sexual rights activists and HIV specialized physicians argue that a multifaceted approach reinforcing free treatments and advancing research and finding a cure to going beyond superficial educational campaigns will be the right concoction to dramatically reduce or even eradicate the virus in Mexico. Clayton Canta del Sur, Mexico City.
French President Francois Hollande held a meeting with British Prime Minister David Cameron to discuss ongoing efforts in the battle against the Islamic State group. Now, the meeting comes as Prime Minister Cameron announced a new package of budget cuts for social programs to increase military spending. Cameron has tried to enter the U.S.-led coalition conducting airstrikes in Syria, but he has failed to gain parliamentary approval. During the press conference held after both leaders met, Cameron announced he would provide support for the French Air Force by lending British Air Base in Cyprus.
Today, I've offered President Hollande the use of RAF Akrotiri for French aircraft engaged in counter-ISIL operations and additional assistance with air-to-air refueling.
And while the European leaders met in France, the Syrian army announced it had made some significant gains in the battlefield. According to state media, the Syrian army has recovered control of the cities of Macri and Hawarin, and they're the two main cities in the province of Homs. Now, the cities were controlled by the Islamic State group and were the last strongholds of the group in Homs. A landslide has killed dozens of people in Myanmar's Kachin state. A pile of soil digged from a jade mine collapsed overnight, covering some 50 houses with people still in them. The landslide also buried workers in the mine. Authorities have found 90 bodies so far as rescue efforts there continue. A colorful race was held over the weekend here in the Venezuelan capital of Caracas. For the third year in a row, Venezuelans participated in the Color Run, as it's called. It's a new approach to marathons that's being implemented around the world. I'm sure you've seen this before, probably on social media. With music, cheers, and colorful paint, there it goes. The organizers provided a happy trail for runners and a positive energy for the city here. The 5-kilometer race was ran by some 2,000 people. And in Algeria now, the youth there are breaking with some conservative stigmas. A heavy metal festival was held over the weekend despite religious rejection of that music genre. The Fest 213 brought together Algeria's best metal bands and drove thousands of fans from around the country. Heavy metal emerged in the North African country during the 90s when Algeria was struggling with a war against religious extremism that left hundreds of thousands killed. That's what we're covering this Monday morning from Caracas. Plenty more on all of those stories and others at our website, telesurtv.net/English. Also, check us out on social media, Instagram, Facebook, and also on Twitter. For Telesur English, I'm Cody Weddle. We'll see you back here with the latest news in just a few hours.